All right, let's get into this. College football. We know it's been some changes, Rob G, over the last few years. NIL, players being able to transfer and all that. And Lane Kiffin, who, by the way, has there been a guy that has failed up more than him? I mean, he fails down then up, and he's just a guy that just keeps getting opportunities and alley-oops. I mean, there's so many other people that we can sit up here for the remainder of this show and name guys that get their big start and where everybody's excited for him, and then, maybe it doesn't go well and we never hear from him again. Mm-hmm. Boy, Lane Kiffin can just keep popping up, but so credit to him for
well, he's one of those weird guys where he's failed a lot, yes, but he's also a good football coach. So it's kind of like an oxymoron, I guess, where it's like, how do you keep failing up, but you're also good at your job? Like, I don't know if that makes sense in my mind.
It's because sometimes the opportunity might have been too big for him.
Sure.
Josh McDaniels.
Yes. That is a great example.
Josh McDaniels is your offensive coordinator, got a good quarterback, and you're boom, killing it.
Yep.
Josh McDaniels, lead our franchise and run this organization. Not so good. And so therein lies it, the situation with him. But he had some things to say about dynasties, and he basically was saying Nick Saban and what was happening in Alabama ain't happening no more.
Definitely
a little bit more what he was saying.
According to Lane Kiffin, he's doing some promo, I believe, for some like E60 feature they're doing on him, which apparently is going to be really good. I'll have to check it out. But he was talking specifically about the SEC. And what he said was, since they've added Oklahoma and Texas, and since they've decided they're going to be adding that 9th conference game starting next season, we talked about it here on the show, couple that with the NIL rules and the transfer portal, he's saying that dynasties are officially over, specifically in the SEC. That no matter what you think about 5 years ago, 10 years ago, what Kirby Smart's currently doing at Georgia, what Nick Saban did before at Alabama, you're not going to see that anymore. That's what Lane Kiffin thinks.
Well, I was making fun of him a little bit, how he's, kind of failed up. I agree for the most part. Here's why I agree. More than anything, I get his point about the games now, right? Because you used to be able to sneak away, okay, we're only going to play 3 or 4. Now you're playing all these big-time teams in your own conference, and you're playing schools in Oklahoma and Texas that weren't normally there, and maybe you only have to play one of them.
Right. But that's still one more tough team that you would have to play. That's one more tough team.
But here's why I hear his point, and I understand what he's saying, but I'll say this. Because more than anything to me, Rob G., it's the transfer. Kids nowadays, Alabama was a factory. They had – remember how many running backs they had? It was ridiculous.
All of them.
They had every running back that went into the NFL. Now, whether they ended up being good or great in the NFL was different, but you know how many defensive backs and linebackers they had? You might not even really get to play until your junior year, right? I'll get me as a freshman. I'm playing a little bit sparingly my sophomore year. And I think now kids are like, the minute it ain't going that way, I'm out. The minute I don't like that he told me I couldn't play. He told me he's going to pick up, I'm out. And that's the one issue I've had, and you've heard me say it with the transfer portal. It's not so much the transferring. That doesn't bother me. It's the ideology of, if things ain't going my way, I'm out. If I don't get the reps I want, I'm out. And I don't like that, because that's not, to me, necessarily applicable to life. Like, that's not how life always works. Sometimes the best scenario for you was you stayed there, you went through the fire, you pushed through, and now you're starting your senior year, but you know how good you are, how locked in and how ready you are, right? Because you went through it all, and now you start these 13 games, and you end up being a top 25 pick because you were amazing, and you were ready, and you were focused, and you were at the best tutelage and teaching and mentoring. You get what I mean? And you played the best of the best of the best. Now guys are leaving great situations, great schools, great teams, to go to some other middling school because I could be the man there. And it's like, okay, you're the man there, but they're not that great. You're not that great, and it looks like you're great because you might be the best, player there, but you're not playing the best competition. And I just feel as though that's leaving, where guys were comfortable being second string, third string at Miami during the early 2000s. You remember those teams were insane.
Yep.
Their tight ends, you had Jeremy Shockey as a backup, or was he start? But because you had Kellen Winslow
was the backup.
Like, you just had, how many backup receivers and backup safeties?
Clinton Portis, William McGahee.
Frank Gore. Dude, what?
Yeah.
And guys waited their turn because they're like, I'm playing the best of the best of the best of the. Look, they used to say that all the time with those teams. You know why Saturdays were easy for us? Look who I practice against.
Yep.
Everybody, Devin Hester, like all these guys are in a Jonathan Vilma. Like, it was absurd. My point is you play with real guys. I think kids nowadays are going to sometimes, not all, just take the easy way out. And so, therefore, your roster is not going to be as stacked as it used to be, where I'm just, no, you think that's the best linebacker. Wait till you see this kid that's coming up in a year or two, because that kid's going to be mad. I'm going to go there now.
Everything you said is accurate, and that's precisely why I disagree with you.
Okay.
Because NIL and the transfer portal, even more so than the scheduling with the 9 teams and Texas.
Right, I got what he was saying.
Right,
but,
even more so than that. The portal and the NIL has changed college football in a way that, for me, it's worse because I kind of miss the pageantry of football and you know, you mentioned it, like guys being there, you grow with the program and you saw a guy as a freshman, what he became as a senior and the development, that kind of stuff. But now that NIL and the transfer portal is here, you couple that with the expansion of the college football playoff, and I think dynasties are going to be easier to come by now than they were before, specifically because you can lose 3 or 4 games and still get in the playoff. So if you are a team, like we're talking about that Alabama team that was loaded, where you mentioned 2013, look at this. Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, TJ Yeldon, Kenyon Drake, all in the same backfield. Now, some of those guys hadn't played, they had transferred, but they were all on the team at one point.
That's how crazy.
In one running back room. If you lost 2 games in 2013, you were done. You had no chance of winning a championship. And that's what made Nick Saban's run so damn impressive, because if they lose 1 game, like, hey, we got to run the table here.
Yep.
If we run the table and we lose 1 game in the SEC championship game, we may not get in. We got to be honest with that. We got to be cognizant, because there's going to be a Pac-12 team that might run the table in a lesser conference. We might have a Big Ten team who lost early instead of late, and suddenly they're in the championship game. Well, now you can lose 3 or 4 games and still be in the mix. That's number one. Number two, even though we kind of agree and it's generally accepted that the big-time programs were still paying guys allegedly under the table, whether it's actual cash or it's, hey, I don't know if you looked into this, but Alabama's entire defensive backfield all got Corvettes. I don't know how that happened, but they must got a great salesman down there that's getting these guys these cars or whatever it is. Before, it was under the table and it was just kind of assumed and, you know, it was happening, but we didn't really know. But now we know that if you are Ohio State, and last year I think they had a $20 million roster, that if they want to invest $20 million annually moving forward, they are going to have one of the best teams in football without even factoring in what the coach looks like, without factoring in your experience level, without factoring any of that stuff in. We are just going to have top to bottom one of the best rosters. Even if the next year one of those guys transfers, we're going to buy another guy to replace him. So that's why I believe when you have so much freedom of movement and you have the expanded playoff, you can run off 3, 4, 5 championships because you can reload in a way that was easier now than ever before. And you can afford to trick games away in September, October that you couldn't do 5, 6 years ago.
Everything you said makes sense, but I'll also add another little caveat where I'll push back. I think, you know what happens when money and too much of it gets involved? The desire to win goes away. It's the reason why people feel there's a conflict between NBA players now and then back in the day. Because for those guys, a lot of it, we're getting paid respect, relative to the average American in 1987, we're making good money. But we're not getting crazy money. It's not a huge farm. Bill Laimbeer said it like this. Bill Laimbeer said, my dad made more money than I made as a professional because dad, had a good business, and he was like, that's how, you've been hard pressed to make more than your dad. Your dad to make more than you now, even if you're a middling player in the NBA, because the money is so high.
Sure.
And it changes the game. And there's a little bit of you that's like, winning matters, but when money's good. And now I start giving 17, 18, 19, 20-year-olds a bunch of money that they can flaunt now too, be iced out, and we can legally
they can be out and about with it. They don't have to be sneaky anymore.
Man, I hear what you're saying. I could just go buy some player, man, but they offer me more over there. Or I can go over there and stunt and shine. I just think the simply going to Alabama, Texas, Ohio State, they might throw me a little bit here, but it's more about I want to be there and win.
But those teams are going to be in the mix every year anyway.
What I'm saying is I think it's the pure thing about winning is leaving. And so, therefore, the idea of sticking around and doing this and being – I think it turns more into a me versus the big Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State. And I could be wrong. Once you start putting a lot of money, yes, they were getting handshakes back in the day. That might have had a little something in the envelope.
Yep.
And yes, maybe one or two guys were getting taken care of on a large level.
Sure.
But now you got so many kids, and this living out in Southern California. Man, trust me, working from news organization, these kids
in high school
are pulling up in crazy cars, souped up Hellcats, souped up, as you mentioned, Corvettes.
If you got time, go to a modern day game. Go to a Bosco game.
Man, you pull it, and you're
gonna feel real broke when you pull up to that parking lot.
My kids are right now. And let me go talk to my bosses and get some more money. Because what the heck is going on, this kid? And so my point, I just feel like
Dub's ashamed to drive his old car. He has to drive the new car when he takes the girls to school.
I drop him off at school. I gotta fit in.
We're taking the new car today. Yeah, no, but it's blocked in. No. I'll move the other way.
Well, then y'all ain't going to school today. No, but I just feel like the money is so crazy now. I could be wrong, but the idea of just simply winning doesn't necessarily ring off as much as I feel like it used to. And I could be wrong.
No, I understand what you're saying. What I guess my only pushback to that would be is I could absolutely see that line of thinking taking place with all the 5-star guys, the guys who have been, to your point, been getting paid since they were freshmen in high school, right? Mm-hmm. So their starting negotiation rate as an incoming freshman is like $2 million.
Right.
Like, no, that's what I need. I've already getting $500,000 in Texas as a junior. So no, I can't be taking anything less than $1 million, whatever it is. But what you're seeing a lot of these teams do now, and we saw that again, Ohio State last year, they probably could have got another 5-star freshman to come in and be an impact player for the next 2, 3, 4 years. What they said, no, is we're going to play for 1 year. Will Howard, he's already established. He's already, had some success. And I'm not saying we're going to get him at a discount, but he's a guy who's also going to value the idea of, hey, I'm playing now at Ohio State.
Yep.
Hey, I got a chance to play for a chance. Like, Kansas State was cool, and we were pretty good, and we made some noise, but this is, like, different. And I think that's where you're going to see it kind of play out.
And we're seeing it in college basketball.
Yes.
Where they're just going to get other guys. Instead of getting this nice, shiny freshman dude.
We're going to get the whole Dayton front line.
We're going to get this whole 24, 25-year-old grown man that looked like he went to high school with Rob and Kelvin.
That's right.
Let's bring him in. All right. All right, Rob, so they're watching us right now, which means another thing they can do is what?
They can subscribe. All you got to do is hit that button, subscribe to The Odd Couple for some of the best sports talk content in the nation.
Facts, and while you're at it, they can like, they can comment, they can share. Do all that for us. We appreciate it. Just do all that right up in here.